What is going on, guys? Today I'm going to be giving you a spoiler review for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So of course, if you want to see my full in-depth thoughts, well, not really in-depth, but my full kind of quick, more vague thoughts on the film, go check out my spoiler-free review. I give a rating, I go through my positives and my negatives, and then a rating at the end. And for this one, what I like to do for the spoiler videos is it's pretty simple. I just talk about what I couldn't talk about in the other video because they're spoilers. I mean, that's all we're gonna talk about. You know, that's all this video really means to me. Just anything that I consider to be a spoiler that I felt like I wanted to mention. That's what this video is for. So let's go ahead and do it. I got a couple more Marvel videos planned. I thought it'd be fun to do some like rankings and stuff. So we might do like an MCU characters tier list or maybe an MCU movie ranking. We'll see. I'm not like gonna make any promises on that, but I have some ideas in mind. So let's talk about this movie itself. Obviously, if you watched my spoiler-free review, you would know that I did in fact love this movie. I gave it a 9.3 out of 10. I had some issues with a couple things here and there. My main issues were actually regarding some of these spoiler-related things, so I think we're going to be talking about a lot of negatives in this video just because of that. A lot of things I liked, obviously, like a lot of the directing. Wanda as a character was just phenomenal. Even Doctor Strange as a character, I thought his character was very well developed. Not as much as Wanda, though. Wanda was easily the spotlight of this movie for sure. I didn't mention Danny Elfman's soundtrack, but that was definitely a huge positive from the film. I absolutely love the soundtrack in this film. I'd argue it's one of the best soundtracks in the MCU. And yeah, a lot of my positives were just like that. But let's talk about spoilers now. Cameos. The cameos. That is the thing that I think most people are going to be talking about because that's just how it is. I don't know, ever since like... What was the first, like, big thing to do a bunch of cameos? I guess you go back to like the Mandalorian where they started introducing cameos into their films and then started seeing it with Marvel more and more. I mean, Marvel used to do it all the way back when. I mean, they've been doing it for a while, but I'm talking like big cameos that are like huge. These weren't really cameos in that same way, except for a couple characters. Some of them I think might have been actually teasing future characters that we'll see again, whereas other ones I think we're just a one and done type thing. So I'll kind of go into detail as to what I mean by that. Professor X is the one where, of course, they all die. They all get killed by Wanda. I mean, this is a spoiler video, so if you're still watching, then I don't know, you fucked up yourself. But yes, they all get killed by Wanda, and I loved that. I loved the scenes of Wanda just absolutely tearing these people apart. When she popped that guy's brain, like his brain literally exploded. What was his name? Black Bolt? He was one of the characters I wasn't familiar with. So when I saw him, there was no like, oh my god, it's Black Bolt. I didn't know who he was. Like I was like, okay, cool. He looks cool. He had a cool ability. But seeing his brain just get turned to smush by Wanda was just that was probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. And then she just tore apart Reed Richards, kills Captain Carter. I like the little fight she had with Captain Carter. That was a really good fight. And the fight went on a little bit longer with Captain Marvel, which made sense because she's a little more powerful. So it makes sense she'd last a little bit longer. But she gets killed anyways. And then when she kills Professor X with the snap of the neck, that was awesome. The whole way that whole scene was done. But when it comes to these characters, what are their usefulness to the MCU, or are they just cameos? Professor X, I think, is just a cameo just simply because I just don't think Patrick Stewart, I mean, I hate to say it, if he is kind of old. I mean, he's like 81 now, so like, I don't know. I mean, if he still wants to do this role for years to come, that'd be fine with me, but I just don't have a feeling that'll happen. I feel like this is his last appearance as Professor X, and I'd be okay with that. I mean, his send-off in Logan was really good, so I think this is just a good, like, fun little cameo where he gets to have, you know, this little couple scenes again. I thought it was fun. I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home brought back Green Goblin in a way that, like, was much more than a cameo, obviously. It was a full-on villain appearance, and he was completely, like, tied to the film all the way through. Like, his character mattered a lot. But this is, like, just, you know, just there to be like, oh, cool, Professor X, you know, the Illuminati, cool. Which in the comics, of course, that exists, and the only character on there that I don't think was in the comic version of the Illuminati, I don't remember Captain Carter being there. I don't think so. So that's the one that I'm not too sure about. But again, this is, you know, an adaptation, so I'm not like, I don't really care if it's comic accurate or not. I think Captain Carter there was cool. But of course, the one that we all know was definitely comic accurate, and I was really hyped to see was, of course, Reed Richards. And I expected to see Reed Richards, but I was not expecting it to be John Krasinski at all. I know we've been hearing the rumors for like a while, but I just thought those were just fan castings. And I think it was. I think it was a fan casting for a long time. Like I've been hearing people saying John Krasinski needs to play Reed Richards for like fucking 4 years. And the fact that it became a thing is just crazy to me. Like that's such an insane thing. But my question is this going to be our Reed Richards in the Fantastic Four movie that's set to release in a few years? Is it? I don't know, because it could be. Or it was just a little like wink and nod to the fans who were all fan casting John Krasinski as Reed Richards. I would have no problem with him playing Reed Richards. I'll be honest, for the little bit we saw, I wasn't crazy about it. I think John Krasinski is a great actor, but for some reason he didn't feel like Reed Richards in the sense, like I didn't look at this guy and think to myself, oh yeah, this guy is incredibly smart. No offense to John Krasinski, I just couldn't imagine this guy being one of the most intelligent person in the world. Like I didn't get that vibe when I was looking at him on screen. It might have been the way he was presenting his lines. I don't know, but I'm definitely we didn't see much of him, so I'm definitely open to seeing more of him if he does portray the character again. And I'm sure he could be fine in his own movie along with the other Fantastic Four members. I thought was interesting is he said he has a wife and that he has kids as well. So this version of Reed Richards, I guess, is a bit older, because I don't think he has kids right away in most comic adaptations. I could be wrong, but I'm assuming they're going to want to kind of build up to that kind of stuff, and even build up to the relationship with Sue Storm, which I'm assuming that's who he was referring to. I'm assuming as his wife. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited to see how that plays out. I just don't know if it's going to be John Krasinski. I'm just curious. I'm curious. Then, of course, like I said, Captain Carter was great to see. I think her What If episode was pretty interesting, and it was just nice to see, Agent Carter again, Peggy Carter. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a nice little cameo, and she had a nice fight against Wanda. It was cool. And then you had the Captain Marvel, another like variant of Captain Marvel, I guess. I didn't really care for her. I mean, like, I feel like it wasn't the most interesting thing you could have done. Out of all the cameos you could have had, that was probably one of the least interesting things you could have done. Black Bolt, like I said, I didn't know who he was. Maybe if I knew who he was, I would have been more interested in it, but I wasn't interested in Black Bolt either. Well, his death was cool enough to the point where it was like worth having him. A character I would have loved to have seen, and I'm pissed this didn't happen, man. I was so looking forward to this, but of course, it's just expectations. I want to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man. I would have freaked shit if I saw Tom Cruise as Iron Man. Like, that would have been something else. Because, of course, if you guys don't know, he was rumored. I think he might have actually, not even rumored. I think he was originally supposed to play Tony Stark in the MCU, but something happened, and then it was Robert Downey Jr. So that would have just been a really awesome Easter egg for the audience to just have him as Tony Stark and as a variant in this universe. That would have been awesome, but they didn't do that, and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Like I said in my other review, some of the cameos I thought were just, I don't know, they were fine, they fit. I would have loved to have seen even more. I just would have loved it. Now let's talk about Wanda. Well, her death, I'm going to put that in air quotes because I don't think she's dead. I am assuming she could have done a number of things. I mean, it's fucking Scarlet Witch. Like, I don't think that would have killed her, but I mentioned this in my other review that there was something that it was a spoiler, so I wasn't going to mention it, but that was the thing I didn't like. It was how they handled that scene and kind of how they wrapped everything up. So I thought the idea of having America Chavez defeat Wanda through mental means by putting her in the position of, seeing her kids be scared of her. I thought that was brilliant because, of course, America Chavez is not gonna beat Wanda fist to fist. I'm glad she didn't. I remember watching the movie and I was thinking to myself in that moment when they started fighting, I was like, if this America Chavez girl is able to somehow kick Wanda's ass, I will be incredibly disappointed with this movie. But I like how she actually was able to just use her wits and do something intelligent that would put her in the situation where she would kind of feel bad and feel guilty for what she's become. But I felt like that moment was rushed. I felt like it didn't earn itself, because it felt like one of those just snap of the finger moments where it's like she just automatically changed within seconds just from seeing her kids scared of her. Yes, that'll do it, but it should have been a little bit more gradual, maybe over time, maybe had more things happen to her to kind of lead her into this place where then she decides to turn and be like, okay, you guys are right. I got to stop this. And I got to stop the Darkhold from essentially taking over the damn multiverse. And like I said, I love the idea of the scene, but then when it plays out and she just kind of like destroys the tomb, or whatever you want to call it, throne. And I mean, in the moment, I honestly was like, is she dead? And if she was dead, I was going to be really disappointed, because I'm like, okay, how do you kill her off like that? You know what I mean? Like, that's just a really dumb death for this character. Because it wasn't, I don't think killing her off is necessarily a terrible thing, because I do personally feel like it would be a fitting place to end her character. Although I know there's a lot more to the arc of Scarlet Witch in the comics, and it would make sense to continue it. But then again, why bother faking us out in the first place then? I don't really like fake outs. I don't think a lot of people do. So why fake out the audience? Unless they weren't trying to fake us out. And maybe I just read that wrong, but it felt like a, Dr. Octopus, bringing down his machine type moment where she was sacrificing herself. That's what it looked like. But again, I don't think she's dead for a number of reasons. She's a very popular character. Elizabeth Olsen's fantastic. Unless Elizabeth Olsen didn't want to do it anymore, then I guess it would be a good time to kill her off. But if they were trying to kill her off there, you should have done it in a more emotional and like impactful moment where it feels like there's heavy weight to the moment. You know what I mean? I don't really know what to think of it, again, because like I said, I don't know if she's alive or dead, but I'm leaning towards alive. Either way, I still think it's a scene that I wasn't exactly a fan of how it was executed. So a couple things in the third act I wasn't crazy about. I do really like Strange turning into a zombie. Him going into the zombie body was awesome. It was kind of reminiscent of the zombie stuff from What If. A lot of What If stuff came into play here, which I thought was really cool, really important for that show because of that. And it was cool just seeing him do that. We saw a couple different versions of Strange here. I didn't mention this in my spoiler free review, but there was that one scene with the other Strange from What If where they were in the top of the Sanctorum and they were like throwing notes at each other and it was like playing music. It was visually really cool. I thought it was a little cheesy. I thought it was like almost like, I know the movie is kind of cheesy here and there, and that's okay. Cheese isn't bad, but it was like almost like Looney Tunes cheesy, and it was, I think, a little too much for the movie. And especially in that moment, I feel like they should have had a fight between the two of them that felt a little more serious. But they kind of made a fun little joke out of it by having like some funny music play when they're throwing music notes at each other. I don't know. I didn't love that scene. I wasn't crazy about it. Pretty much everything in the first and second act I absolutely loved, though, other than the fact that, yeah, there's a little bit of rushedness here and there. I know I'm going all over the place, but that's usually how these spoiler reviews are. But every scene with Wanda hunting down someone trying to kill them was just amazing. Especially in the first act when she first attacks, when they're all at the, I don't know exactly what you would call that place. I forget what the name of it is, but the place in the mountains. And when she attacks that place, I was freaking out in the theater because of how awesome that scene was. When she comes out of that mirror and her body's like twisting and stuff, like I lost it, man. I was like, this is a horror movie. That's exactly what I wanted it to be. And I was so damn pumped, man. I was freaking out with how cool that shit was. It was amazing. And even just like the scenes in general, like of her like coming behind that one guy and just like whispering, run, like, it gave me the chills, man. Everything with Wanda was giving me the chills. And then you get into later scenes when you get into that one universe, forget the name of it, like the number of the universe, what they gave it. It was 8-3 something, I think. I don't remember, but that was a really cool place, by the way. The futuristic looking New York City. Awesome, man. It was so beautiful, the cinematography and everything. I know it's CGI, but cinematography can include CGI, so don't attack me in the comments. I feel like people don't think of that, but it can include it. It's the same shit. It was beautiful. But Wanda, when she eventually attacks the Illuminati headquarters, whatever you want to call it, that's probably my favorite part of the movie. When she goes out and she kills all the Illuminati, I was just like, oh my god, this is so good. The third act is, I think, the only part where I didn't absolutely love everything that was happening, but I still really enjoyed it. Every scene where she was visiting her kids in the WandaVision universe, I guess you can call it. I think it's the same universe as the one with Illuminati, but I really, really liked those scenes. The fact that they played the WandaVision music in the beginning too, I thought that was so cool. And yeah, I mean, wow. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I can't get over how much I loved Wanda in this movie. And the last thing I want to talk about in this video is the after credits scene. So there's two. The last one was a waste of time, obviously. It was just one of those joke ones, which I think they're funny, but they do them a little too much, Marvel. I feel like we've seen it so many times. We saw it with Deadpool, we saw it with Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't know how many more times did we see it. I'm trying to think. I didn't feel like we needed it here. Bruce Campbell was cool to see. I forgot to mention him as a cameo. He was fun to see. It was kind of just a fun little, oh, it's Bruce Campbell, but that, you know, after credits was kind of a slap in the face. But you get a good laugh out of it. But like when I see it again this Saturday, I'm probably just gonna not stay for that part because it's just such a waste of time. So for the first after credits scene, I had to look it up because I wasn't aware of this character. I didn't know who the character was. Honestly, when I was first watching it, I thought it was Cyclops from X-Men, and I was like, are we getting X-Men cameos here? But apparently she's a character named Clea, if I'm saying that right. And she has cytokinesis, teleportation, mind control, you know, similar Sorcerer Supreme type stuff, you know, some of that type of magic. But she's a character who's essentially sometimes... It says eventual wife of Doctor Strange, so I guess that's a love interest. I don't know. But I guess it's gonna lead into Doctor Strange 3, I'm assuming. I'm assuming they're gonna do a third one. I mean, Doctor Strange is definitely a beloved character, so I think they would make a third one. So I'm assuming that's what that's leading into. It could be leading into something completely different that I'm just not aware of. If you guys have any thoughts, let me know in the comment section below. I mean, I'm sure there's people who are more avid Marvel readers than I am, so they could probably let me know some more information about this Clea character and what could possibly come from all this, or if it'll lead into something a little more important that I just don't know of. So yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.